Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is Bah, the host of Nothing But Miss, and I'm here with one of my best buddies, my co-host in the basketball season, Melky. How's it going, brother?
Melky in the hizzy, tossing air balls and brick shots.
Like always, buddy.
Like always, only way Melky can. Never going to bring, but it's never going to bring me down. Do you know why?
Why? Tell me.
That's right. LeBron James is no longer in the playoffs. His bald ass has been kicked to the curb. What do you think about that, Bah?
Go enjoy beating the Goon Squad, buddy. The Space Jam 2 is all you care about, and it showed during the playoffs. See ya.
Bye.
I am so happy that happened. And you know what? Yeah, obviously, I'm one of those pussies this season that took them, I'm pretty sure, to win it again. I hate myself for that every day. Never again.
Yeah, I'm one of those pussies too. But on that note, let's cheers to LeBron not being in the playoffs, sir.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, congratulations to you, because you get to see a background behind Melky of a crying face of the man of the hour, LeBron. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
He's probably doing it right now.
All right, we'll get to that guy later. No more Raptor talk for the season, obviously, Melky. That's done. We finished that with our good buddy Kevin. We're moving on to a round one playoff review right now. So we're going to start in the East. Some crazy stuff happening. We're going to start with the number 1 seed, your Philadelphia 76ers, versus the number 8 seed, Washington. The 76ers won this in 5 games, 4-1. Melky, your thoughts, buddy?
Pure dominance.
Yeah.
Washington had no chance. You and I both alluded to this last pod, and actually most of the season. They go as far as Russell Westbrook, unfortunately, and Westbrook, he's great for like a game or two, but then he's horrible for 4 or 5, and nobody could guard Embiid. Like, Embiid is just a physical specimen. The Washington had no prayer.
The fact that they didn't even have Embiid for this series, and Simmons, Tobias Harris, by the way, Tobias Harris, okay, 1 game this playoffs, under 20 points, this guy, and it was 19 points. He is playing unreal lights out. They just came to play. I mean, you've seen what Embiid brings to this team. They would have swept, possibly, I think, the series if he was in it, and I'm not the biggest Philly guy at all, but crazy how they're playing. And I actually think, Melky, I don't know if you agree with me, as a jaded Leafs fan, round one bullshit, I actually think you can positively look at the season like if you're a Washington fan. Like, if you're the Washington players, like, it was the number 1 seed. You didn't really have a chance. I think they played well. They won a game. I mean, you really hating? Did you expect this?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. You should be happy because Washington hasn't been relevant in years. So you did make the playoffs. Unfortunately, your consolation prize was the number 1 seed. And props to Doc Rivers, too. He put the right matchups out. His team was firing on all cylinders. Daryl Morey made some great moves in the offseason to get shooters, because that's what they need. Since Simmons refuses to take a jump shot or learn how to take one, you need shooters around him and Embiid. So props to that organization for getting it done.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up his name, Doc, because not really the butt of the jokes. I mean, he does get respect, but I mean, there is that playoff Paul George type of background to him. So it's nice that he won the series in dominating fashion, because he's not the biggest playoff winner, as we know.
No, and he has one of the worst voices, too. His voice is ashy.
Yeah. Okay, so like I said, Embiid was out, small lateral meniscus tear. Simmons, Harris, they lit it up. Seth Curry, career playoff high, 31 points. I mean, we're talking about shooters, right? You just brought it up. So, Morey, congrats. I mean, you did what you said.
They were on a mission. Anything less, I think for them, anything less than an appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals is a failure. It's a failed season. So you knew they were going to be coming out in all cylinders. They had the weapons to do it. And Washington was no match. Like Beal, you have Beal and you have Westbrook, but after that, who else is going to really step up for you? So it was a cakewalk for Philly.
Yeah, and by the way, that Philly crowd, Game 5 or whatever, like that was. There's nothing better than crowd back in sports. I absolutely love it. Washington just didn't stand a chance. And I want to do a shout out, and one of my little notes here I had to make, Tyrese Maxey, the rookie sub. That guy came to play in the playoffs. That was awesome.
Could have been a Raptor.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, that was Malachi instead?
No. Remember the trade rumors? That's who Toronto wanted. Yeah, they wanted Maxey. They wanted what's his the other name? It starts with a T. They wanted all the young players off of Philly, but they said no mas.
Yeah, imagine Lowry on this team.
I think we're going to swept.
I'm just never going to cheer for Philly, but I do like them. You know what? Allen Iverson in the past, like whatever they had, and pretty good jerseys in the past. That's a little shout out for future part of the episode. But you know what? I really don't want 76ers to go to the finals, man, at all.
Yeah, well, you know what? They have we'll talk about that later too, but they got a matchup with the Soaring Hawks, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, we're moving on. I think that's enough's been said. I mean, that was just pretty dominating fashion by Philly. We're going to move on to the second series. Your number 2, boo, Brooklyn Nets versus the Boston Celtics. Boo. I mean, and the Nets won it in 5 games, 4-1.
I was shocked this wasn't a sweep. Kudos to Jason Tatum. He had that 50-point game, I believe, in Game 3. Was it Game 3? Yeah.
Game 3.
50 points. You know, he's a star. He's an ascending, like, monster, if you want to go Looney Tunes and Space Jam quotes. But he had no help. It was Jason Tatum on Lonely Island and everybody else. And you're competing against 3 All-Stars and Durant, Kyrie, and Harden. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if our listeners remember from an earlier episode where I said that Tatum could single-handedly win a game, and he did that night, by the way.
You called it. Kudos to you. You were on the ball. I honestly was looking for every broom in my fucking house, just to get ready for it. But, like I said, Tatum, he's all-world, man. He's a great player.
Yeah, but I bring up this little ego check because you're right. It wasn't enough in the playoffs. I mean, now the rumors are coming out about Kemba Walker. This relationship is not going to last. Like, it's untainable. And apparently he's going to be traded. And what did he do in the playoffs? This guy signed a massive contract. And I like Kemba. I think he's a pretty sick player. But it is not working out in Boston.
Oh, there's a lot going on in Boston. The coach, apparently there was a rift between the coach and the players.
Yeah.
And apparently he's exhausted and he needed a fresh start. So they actually made a change with Danny Ainge stepping down. And now the coach is the GM. So that should be interesting. A voice you didn't want to hear on the court. Now you got to hear in the front office. Only in Boston.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a really tough decision if you're hearing rumors about a guy losing the locker room, so you promote him. But I mean, he has that
like pedigree.
Ownership, the pedigree, and the ownership loves him. Like, they really do. So what are you going to do? James Harden balled out Game 5 to close out this series. He had 34 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. We'll get to his news for round 2. But, I mean, Steve Nash, hard to judge this guy as a first-year coach because when everybody's healthy on this team, I mean, it's the Brooklyn Nets, it's Kevin Durant, it's James Harden, it's Kyrie. And we'll get to a little thing Kyrie did in a second. But how do you feel Steve Nash, Brooklyn? They're just...
honestly, that coaching staff, you got D'Antoni, you got Jacques Vaughn, Steve Nash. He can relate to the guys too. They wanted him. They wanted him. They said, we want him to coach us. So, everybody's on the same page and he can relate to them. So sky's the limit for Brooklyn. That's why Brooklyn's probably going to stand up.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can't stand Boston in any sports. Your time has come winning. You guys have had a good run. So I don't give a shit that the Celtics are out. Brooklyn, pretty sure everybody knew it was going to win.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer too.
All right, moving on to the next series. We've got the Milwaukee Bucks versus Miami Heat, who, coming out of the bubble, even I was saying, this team, man, for the future. And you put on the brakes multiple episodes ago about that.
Yeah, I never trusted them. They were a bubble team, and they have good pieces, but not championship pieces. And I was never encouraged with them getting to the finals. I just think Milwaukee failed in the worst way, and they capitalized on it. And I actually think if Toronto had beaten Boston in that series, Toronto would have beaten them in the bubble.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll agree with that. But we bring this up because they got swept. Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, all that talk, man, all that swagger, neon lights Miami, and you got swept first round.
Yeah, they had no chance. You know what? Giannis was on a mission. You could tell Giannis didn't want to give them an edge at all. I mean, the first game went to overtime.
Yeah, I have that too. Besides that game, though, was this series really ever that close again?
No, not at all. I think Milwaukee set the tone early, and they weren't taking the breaks off. And I proved to Miami that they weren't even worthy of a finals appearance last year. So, yeah, I mean, South Beach is fun and all, but...
Yeah, and shout out to the rest for finally calling Giannis on taking his sweet time shooting. Did you hear the fan counting?
No, what happened?
No, he's just like, doing his typical slow, and you hear a guy being like, 6, 7, 8, goes all the way up to 12. He's like, call it. And they finally do. It's hilarious.
I think Giannis, as great of a player as he is, as worldly a talent as he is, he needs to stay in his lane and not step out, because that can actually hurt his team.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? He might have already heard your advice in the past, because he had 15 assists for a new personal career high, Game 4. I mean, that's unreal.
He's a Greek freak for a reason, Like,
he's a freak, man.
Just be the freak. That's it.
Yeah. A couple of other notes here. So, Milwaukee, unreal defense this series. That was the thing that stood out to me. Like, Miami they couldn't get a perimeter shot. They couldn't get their offensive rebounds. Like, it was unreal. The Bucks had 33.6% offensive rebounding. That's another time that they killed them. Brook Lopez. I mean, for a vet, this guy is doing the Gasol Ibaka, what they did in Toronto. And the fans love him. I mean, the guy's a great interview, too.
And his brother looks like Sideshow Bob.
Yeah. They're nerds, too. Whenever you hear them, they're talking about popular culture or whatever. And those guys are definite nerds. Forbes shot lights out. That's another guy. Like, I mean, Giannis, he played well, but he didn't win them the series. Like, this was a good, dominating team sweep. I mean, Chris Middleton, whoever you want to give a shout out to, they're playing well.
It was a team effort. It was a blessing. DiCenzo going down, and then Forbes came in. And Forbes, everybody forgets. Like, I forgot Forbes is still in the league, and I remember he could shoot the lights out at any given time.
Showed it.
Yeah, he did. They all clicked. And Budenholzer, he comes from a traditional San Antonio team, so he knows how to play defense. He puts a stamp on defense. So
yeah, that guy's an old.
You knew they're going to be locked and loaded.
I mean, Milwaukee, they're scary. I mean, Philly-Milwaukee final, possibly, but I really enjoy watching Milwaukee basketball, and I do not watch them during the regular season. Like, I'll watch the Giannis highlights. Like, you and I talked about it. I was watching the Western Conference more this year.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Milwaukee because I feel sometimes they're a little predictable, with Giannis and the pick and rolls. But they, I'll give them credit. They've been very exciting this playoffs. With the first round sweep and then going fist to fist with Brooklyn. They have some dogs on that team, like PJ Tucker, dog. I loved when he was in Toronto both times.
Yeah, I made some notes for PJ, especially about this round 2. We're going to get to that in a bit because I can't wait. Okay, so the final Eastern Conference round 1 is Atlanta versus the New York Knicks. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I told you this in the group chat, I am on the Atlanta bandwagon now because of this series. Let's go, Trae Young. Atlanta wins it 4-1 and wins at Madison Square Garden with that fan bullshit. Take a bow, Mr. Young.
New York, sit down. You were embarrassed.
Yeah.
I think we all thought it was going 7 from New York.
I think I had that.
Yeah, I think all of us said 7 for New York. Trae Young, it was on another level. He's ascending, and this is the playoffs, right? So this is the time this is your coming out party. And Trae Young, good for you, man. Like, he took that on his shoulders, and they moved the way Trae moved, and New York had no answer. And not only that, Atlanta exposed Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Mr. I only use my left hand. Well, If you want to be a complete player, learn how to use your other fucking hand, because you guys did nothing. Like Randall was most improved player and well deserved in
Absolutely. I
the
think we
regular
both had him
season.
winning. Yeah.
Yeah, in the regular season, and good for you, well earned. But they need someone else there. He's not a number one.
No.
They need someone else.
Yeah, you hit it on the head, man. Exposed. That was the big thing, because when the pressure got to New York, they folded and Atlanta stepped up. And Atlanta's young, New York's young. You don't have that excuse, man.
Yeah, give shout out to Capella, Collins, Hunter. A lot of these guys, they threw a lot of wings at Randall and RJ, and they made them look silly.
Yeah, special shout out to Capella, man. I mean, this guy, we talked about when he was traded, like he's just going to be a great player to that team. And the talking shit, I love it, man. We're coming to your home to send you on vacation. And they actually did it, man. There's nothing better when shit talking actually works out, because you'll look like a fool if it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I, so
yeah,
we're going to talk about it later. But I mean, this is why I got his respect. I mean, he got spit on, got told he was bald, he got told fuck you. I mean, the disrespect from these fucking crowds. Like, I don't know what it is now with all the attention and the fame. We're gonna get into it in a bit because I'll get fucking pissed off.
Yeah, no, Ice Tray in his veins.
Ice Tray, yeah, dude, I jumped on the Atlanta bandwagon. Okay, so Trey, 36 points, 9 assists, game 5 to close out the series. Like I said, he took a bow right when they were chanting. You know, you stand up, you know your team's going to lose, and you're like, whoa, let's give him a sign of respect. Let's give him a sign. This guy bows and shuts up the crowd. I absolutely love it. Only second player in history with 3 straight 30-point games as a visitor to MSG. I mean, what more can you say?
You also got to give credit to Nate McMillan, because when Nate McMillan took over,
yeah,
I don't know if you remember, Trae Young used to try and be like Steph Curry, shoot from half, just shoot wherever he wanted, and unfortunately,
social media butterfly taking shots. Oh yeah,
you know, because monkey see, monkey do. But you know, not everyone is Steph Curry, and kudos to Nate McMillan for, you know, taking him aside and saying you can be effective in other ways. You don't have to be like Steph Curry, and he's blossomed under Nate McMillan. So have the rest of the Hawks. So good on that entire team. Nate McMillan, definitely consideration for Coach of the Year too.
Yeah, 100%. And I obviously I had Utah with Coach of the Year, but Trae Young averaging 29.2 points, 9.8 assists this series. You're right. This coach, just the maturity this guy showed. The IQ of the superstar players in any sport nowadays is unreal. And the hand-eye coordination, the quick lateral, vertical, like, it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, that Luka trade doesn't look so bad after all.
No, it does not, good sir. No, it does not. Okay, so that is the round 1 East roundup. We're moving on to the West now, where I think there's been some better ball. We're going to start off with the number 1 team, who I think Coach of the Year, number 1 Utah Jazz versus the Memphis Grizzlies. And, I mean, like we all thought, Utah won this series 4-1 in Game 5.
Utah is just all worlds better from top to bottom, every category. Best 3-point shooting team, best or top 3 defensively, top 3 offensively. Unfortunately for Memphis, is not their time yet, but you know, Ja Morant is a stud.
They showed up in the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, he showed up, man. Dylan Brooks is a nice player too. JV, we always love JV.
Yep.
Just you're battling a juggernaut. Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell. You know, it's funny. When Donovan didn't play Game 1, they lost, and guess what? They annihilated them as soon as he was inserted back into the lineup.
Yeah, I have that as my first note. I mean, I think if he was in for Game 1, they were going to sweep this series in convincing fashion. The shooting you brought up, I mean, the defense, I mean, the COVID thing really took kind of a hit to Gobert's reputation, because it's almost like he's not – yeah, but it's almost like he's not getting the respect he deserves. And Donovan Mitchell completely deserves the spotlight, because this guy is balling out. But the defense of that team, like you said before, unreal. Like, they're a dominating fashion, and they're showing why they were the first place team, right? Because they got embarrassed in the bubble how their playoffs ended last year. And they still talk about it, that's fuel for this year. And that's a scary thing for an actual legit good team to back that up.
They're a scary team.
Yeah, they are.
I've been watching a couple of their games lately, and they're a scary team. Like Donovan Mitchell. Did you hear what Stephen A. said about Donovan Mitchell?
No, tell me what the great Stephen A. said.
He called him Dwayne Wade 2.0.
Oh, such a hot take. But
Yeah.
he does, but I don't want to agree with Stephen A. Smith. So I don't.
Because he's a loudmouth content who thinks he's right about everything. But there are some similarities. That assassin mentality, and Donovan Mitchell does not care. He doesn't care if you're LeBron. Doesn't care if you're Kawhi. Doesn't care if you're Ja. He's gonna make you look silly.
Yeah, I'm cheering for Mormon country, man. Like that's a small team. I want them to succeed. I mean, we talk about it in our chats all the time about John Stockton, Karl Malone, what have you. Like, I've always kind of liked Utah. Like, I always liked Utah, Vancouver, those other just some Western teams because Toronto was the only one I cared about as a kid.
You know what? It's hard to like Utah because back in the day with Stockton and Malone, the style of basketball was so boring. I'm sorry, like it was boring. It wasn't excitement like the Showtime Lakers or the Boston Celtics with Bird and Ainge, or obviously the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan. But watching this team, there's a lot of excitement. And you know what's crazy? They don't even have Mike Conley. Just wait till he comes back.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So Conley aggravated a hamstring injury Game 5, and he had also had the injury before. That guy is a big piece to that Utah team that's already stacked.
Yeah, the thing, they got him basically for nothing in a trade.
Yeah. So you said Mitchell sat out Game 1, came back Game 2, dominating fashion. He had 30 points, 11 for 16 shooting, 10 assists in Game 5. Donovan Mitchell, dude, when I read this, in 141 minutes played in this series, 141 minutes, he had 136 points. Like, this guy, I mean, I love that you brought that up in the earlier podcast, right? The Booker versus Donovan Mitchell debate, because these two guys are the new faces, part of the new faces of the NBA, and he is showing why.
And now you get to see it because these teams don't get the TV time because it's not the hot spots. Phoenix and Utah aren't the hot spots. Mormontown, and it's where old people go to retire. But now you're seeing it.
Yeah, I just had to pay for that, like Sportsnet Now Plus subscription, all that. Shout out, hopefully future sponsors, because I'm going to start watching some late games. I love it. And you brought up Mike Conley. I mean, this guard, man, he's making 54.8% of his shots in the playoffs. Mr. Clutch.
Well, he was part of those hard-nosed Memphis teams, Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol. And
you think Memphis would have wanted him?
What's that?
Do you think Memphis would have wanted him for this series?
I think they're happy with Ja.
That guy's a stud. Yeah, we talked about him on earlier podcasts. Like, they're in good hands, that Memphis team.
Oh, yeah. You know what? They're only going to get better. They're probably like a third piece away from doing damage.
They know what they need to do for their third, like, retro jersey for the seasons. I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about it later. Okay, moving on to the second series in the West. Melky, you have been on their train all season. We have the Phoenix Suns versus the Los Angeles Lakers, and unfortunately for Mr. LeBron James, Phoenix wins this in 6 games, 4-2.
What a shocker! You know what? It's funny how injuries, and I'm not taking anything away from Phoenix, but it's crazy how injuries can expose someone for who and what they are. LeBron was exposed for what he is. He can no longer carry a team on his back. And Anthony Street Clothes Davis, you really need to consider a different regimen of how you take care of yourself because you're always hurt. Yeah. You're, 28, 29? You're still in the prime of your career, and you're always hurt. What is up with that?
Yeah, you can kind of see where this, if he's staying on this path where his career is going to start going, man, it's going to be that what if. And I know he has the one championship. I'm not taking away from Davis's legacy because I know legacy is such a big fucking thing in the NBA now.
Especially in LA.
But the potential was there. The potential's what, and you're right about the Lakers. They are a 2-man team. And LeBron, I know you finished filming, but the promotion tour starts now. You obviously are in Space Jam 2 mode because as soon as the game ended, you're like, oh, yeah, COVID injury excuses, which, yeah, they were. I mean, you did face that. Every team did. And you just made some, like, promotional advertising comments about the Goon Squad. Like, his heart wasn't in it. Like, this guy writes narratives, Melky, in his head and tries to make these, like, where he's crying on the floor and, like, oh man, I'm seeing I'm triple nets, double nets, and I had to just shoot. This is bullshit. I know you're writing a script in your head, and like when we do the like movie in 20 years where, you know, Denzel Jr. is playing LeBron, like, but I'm so glad this guy's out, man.
Yeah, he's one for the theatrics. I'm tired of his excuses. Even his unsportsmanship. Like you know, you lose in you know what? He put a valiant effort in the fourth quarter of Game 6, but you lose. Be a man. Shake hands. You know, your buddy CP3 is there. Like he's part of the Banana Boat crew. You can't even shake his hand. That was just disgusting. No place for that. Like I'm tired of his ego. You know, good riddance.
Yeah, I was so proud of our group chat, man. You and Kevin, we all jumped on as soon as that happened. We're like, "Are you fucking kidding me? That's how you walk off the court at the end." This young Phoenix Suns team, which I bet you a bunch of players look up to him, man. They balled out. Phoenix didn't play a dirty game. Like, and you're gonna show them that kind of disrespect? Like, man, you have the excuses, like you said, injury, COVID. You know, you don't have Big Baby Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis.
Street clothes.
Exactly. But it's like, man, show the respect. You want to talk about MJ number one, you're number one. Oh, I think this cements my legacy. Nah. You know what? It does cement your legacy. Actually, it does. You're not the number one GOAT.
No, you're a douchebag. And people, and not only that, like other players look up to you. You're the standard. Unfortunately, you're the standard of the NBA, and they see you walking out and not being a gentleman about it. They're going to think it's okay too. Look how the Detroit Pistons back in the day, they were ridiculed for walking out when the Bulls finally beat them, and that killed Isaiah Thomas's career. Yeah, that's why he didn't make the Dream Team, because of that. It was his attitude. So LeBron, like, you know, you're allowed to lose sometimes. It happens. So be a man about it.
Not only that, you have a movie coming out geared towards worldwide kid audience. You're a role model. There are some athletes, yeah, you know what? They're not role models. And you don't have to be celebrities, athletes. You don't have to be a role model. You can just say, no, I don't want Twitter, Instagram. I'm going to do my own thing. That's cool. I respect that. But when you go out of your way to make millions of dollars from parents spending it because promotional toys that'll be coming out, the video game, the TV series, animation, movies, I mean, probably all the other stuff going on with Bronny and any other and you're going to act like that? That's what you want kids to see?
Yeah, it was a black eye for the playoffs, and just a guy who always, it's a me first instead of what's good for the game. But you know what? You know what's great for the game? CP3.
Yes.
Now, Anthony David, street clothes, you were hurt. CP3 got hurt in game 1.
Yeah.
He was hurt in game 1. Yeah, his shoulder. You know, you saw in game 2 and 3 parts of game 3 he was hurt, but he manned up and led this team to victory. So maybe you should be taking notes or working out with CP3 in the offseason.
Yeah, enough talking about the Laker bullshit. You're right. You've been on this guy's back the whole time. He's the leadership this guy brings. We talk about basketball IQ. Devin Booker, 47-point night, game 6. Phoenix picked apart a Lakers defense that was number 1 in efficiency during the season. I mean, that defense, that whole team crumbled. The Lakers had their head in their friggin' laps. And CP3, this guy, who has never really had the playoff success that he deserves, I think. And I know you definitely think he deserves.
Absolutely.
He is showing why they got him.
He's just making a case for, you know, being that, you know, that Mount Rushmore of point guards that everybody wants to compare him to. He was great. And you know what I told you? There's nothing, well, not told you, but there's nothing more than a true leader, a point guard that's a true leader that elevates and makes his other players around him better. And that's what he does. You ever notice, like, he works so much better with younger players because they respect him and they listen to him, whereas he butts heads with other stars like James Harden and Blake Griffin. But here he's flourishing in the system, and they love him for it. You could tell that team is together. I don't know if you saw the end of the game 6 where CP3 brought the game ball to Monty Williams, and they embraced, and he said, when they were in New Orleans, we were eliminated. We were eliminated. We were made fools of. And look where we come. Look at today. So it was a great embracing of that winning game 6 win, and like they're a dangerous team, man. Look out for Phoenix.
I'm so glad you brought up that moment. I had it written down too, like their extensive history. That was so nice to see. And anybody listening, man, you have that family member, that coworker. There's some guy in your life where there's just that respect. You sit up, you talk to them, you address them properly, you shake their hand, like they carry that. That is what CP is. You can tell. You're absolutely right with those young guys. I am so happy for him. Jay Crowder is shooting well. I mean, this whole Phoenix team is buzzing. And we're going to get to how they turned it up for round 2 in a second.
Because Cameron Payne, Mikal Bridges. It's a dangerous team, man.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, kudos to Phoenix. We're going to talk about them again in a bit. We're moving on. You have the Denver Nuggets with the MVP versus the Portland Trailblazers, the working man team. Denver wins this series in 6, 4-2.
Yeah, not what I expected. It was Dame time, but it was Dame time and nobody else.
Yeah.
Norm Powell didn't show up. CJ McCollum didn't show up. Nurkic didn't show up. The rest of the squad didn't show up. Dame was all alone out there, and bless Dame's heart, man. Like, I feel bad for him because how long is enough?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many trade rumors going around right now. And although somewhat justified, man, if he's not coming to the Raptors, I want him to stay in Portland, truthfully, because I want him with Norm.
I want him to. They need to shake things up. It's not working. Look at Game 5. Was it Game 5? Yeah, Game 5, the double OT game. Probably the best game in the playoffs so far. Dame was all world, as he always is, and nobody could fucking help him.
Yeah.
And you had Denver. They were clicking on all cylinders, with obviously the MVP. Austin Rivers, who they picked up later in the year. They were just great. Aaron Gordon, they were just fantastic, and he had help. That was the difference. Dame had no help whatsoever, and it's a shame. His talents are literally getting wasted in Portland, and the man is a loyal dude. You guys need to do something to help this cat out.
Yeah, I'm a Dame fan, man. I mean, you said it almost perfectly. You pretty much copied my notes. I can't believe it. I'm pissed off. I'll just go over mine. So
sounds like a you problem.
So yeah, quickly for Denver. I mean, Jokic played unreal. I mean, 36 points in Game 6 to close it out. That's why he showed he's an MVP. Yeah. But just going back to Portland and Dame, yeah, Lillard played amazing, but he does not have the support staff. I mean, this guy put up 55 points Game 5. A 42-point game, a 37-point game, a 32-point game. Like, unreal lights out. I do not want him to go to a super team. I do not want this, and I love my boy Norm.
Yeah, no, they need to put an APB out for that entire team. CJ has shown that he can't be counted on. Norm did what he could. Nurkic doesn't know the word defense. Maybe in his language they don't have the word defense. There's got to be a huge shakeup. You need a superstar alongside Dame.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, Denver's bench carried that. I know they had the MVP, but they're missing Jamal. But I had 4 names for a shout out. You already said them: Austin Rivers, Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris came out and balled.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, dude, and JaMychal Green played well. Like those 4 guys, that bench, sick.
I hadn't heard JaMychal Green's name since he was in Memphis, so the fact he just came out of nowhere, or he resurged himself was fantastic. They were Denver. Honestly, if Jamal Murray's on this team, I would be picking Denver to represent the West in the finals.
Yeah, dude. And speaking of like a guy like JaMychal too, and guys we talked about before, it's crazy to me how athletes they're just like, even the guys who aren't the household names and stuff, they're just so sick at playing sports that you can just tell when they're out of a coach system or a terrible team or get decent teammates or something. Pretty much like a lot of guys can turn it around. I love it.
It's all about environment. These guys are in the NBA for a reason. It's not like they're shit. Like, they might not be the best players in the NBA, but they made the NBA for a reason. So you can't deny their talents. Their talents are there. It's just environment always helps. And when you play with good players or great players, you usually become a good player yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, we're moving on to the West. And the series that I ended up probably watching the most besides the Phoenix one, just because we were talking, but we've got the Clippers versus the Dallas Maverick, and the Clippers win it in 7 games. Kawhi, Mr. Clutch, Game 7. Holy shit, dude, this guy.
Who picked the Clippers to win?
Yeah.
Yeah. You and Kev jumped on the Luka Doncic's bandwagon, and I don't blame you. That boy is all world.
They
But
blew it, man. They were up 3-2.
but
I
it's
was
the
so
same thing.
confident.
Same thing as Portland, though. Same thing as Portland. It's Luka and who else? Like
Yeah.
they were on fire, like Hardaway and
I'm glad you brought it. Said his name.
what's his name? Finley Smith? No, he's got like a really long name.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Finley Smith or something. I apologize. Brunson. Porzingis was absolute trash.
Where is this guy, man? Like Tim Hardaway is the starter over Kristaps, and like this guy's making so much money.
It's unreal how much he's stealing from Dallas and from New York. He's a no-show, and then he's blaming it on Luka. Luka, yes, I'll give him a little bit where Luka. It takes a special player to play with Luka because Luka slows the game down.
Yeah.
But you're 7'3". Why are you playing like you're 6'3"?
Yeah.
Go to the basket. Go to the fucking
playing
basket.
Small man ball. I don't get it. Do you remember the hype around that guy, like draft night and all that shit with the crazy pick? Knicks are taking him.
But he was good in New York.
I know.
I don't know
that injury wasn't it? Yeah, the injury just absolutely butchered his career. I guess he just took a mental nosedive.
Yeah, but like you have a phenomenal piece in Luka, and you mean to tell me you can't elevate your game? I know you have to. Well, you don't want to be second fiddle. You're not going to be a number one anywhere else. So you may as well. It's Dallas, man. Everything is bigger in Texas. Enjoy yourself. Go be the number 2. Go to the net. You're 7'3". 7'3" who can shoot.
What
Dirk
a way.
is shaking his head.
Yeah, no shit, man. That was supposed to be the next European powerhouse in the NBA. Okay, so you brought up his name, Luka. I mean, the man was getting a bit rough. I think everything you were saying was kind of getting to his head. Like he was playing a little physical this series.
Luka is physical. He's playing back home, and that they played nothing but physical. You got to give it to this cat, man. He did everything and anything he could, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, like you said, he tried his best. I mean, 46 points, 14 assists, 7 rebounds. He's the youngest player in history to average 34 points per game in playoffs, and he's 22 years old. I mean, this guy is about to get the max rookie contract, right? The max contract. So this guy is getting paid, and deservedly so.
Well deserved, but there's rumors out there that he might not see himself in Dallas long term.
I saw that article. Yes, there is some tension between the front office stoolie GM that Mark Cuban has put in place and Luka. Okay, so
Mark Cuban, you need to give him everything that you own. This man needs to stay in Dallas.
Yeah, but you know what, man? This series, I hate to admit this because I wanted him to stay, but Kawhi shut this guy down. I mean, Luka still balled out, but Kawhi just stepped up to the plate. That defensive performance, Game 6, Game 7. I mean, not only that, but Kawhi put up 45 points in Game 6, and Paul George also put up, 22 points, 10 assists in Game 7, Mr. Playoffs, but I'm not going to bring him up. Kawhi took on the job. He said, I'll take Luka. I'll take their star. This quiet superstar who Toronto fell in love with for that very reason, again showed that when you give him a supporting cast who can play basketball, this guy can win you games single-handedly. Legit.
Well, yeah, no, and the best player, or supposedly the best player in the series, was the best player in Kawhi. As you saw, he took it upon himself to carry this team on his back. And yeah, like you said, Pandemic P actually wasn't a pandemic, a liability for once.
He actually got pissed at the crowd and played. Like, good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And kudos to their coach too. I'm drawing a blank. What's the Clippers coach name?
Oh, Ty Lue.
Yeah, Ty Lue. Sorry, fans. Kudos to Ty Lue for benching Beverly and putting in Reggie Jackson, because Beverly wasn't giving them anything, and Reggie, at the point was good. I mean, Reggie's not really a point guard, but he came on and the bench actually showed up, and this team could shoot threes, and they were in the top 5 for 3-point shooting as well. So I think the best player showed up when he had to. So kudos to the Claw.
Yeah, man, you know what? As much as I didn't like LeBron and all that, I actually kind of hated the disrespect that Ty Lue always got, that he was just kind of a coach that was put into place and the team was sick, and like you and I could coach this team. It clearly shows this guy knows how to manage and handle superstars, and he's definitely a player's coach. Like, he's good. He knows how to get guys not necessarily to buy into a system that he makes, but to get the team to focus on being a team and to try to get these individual superstars that, yes, while they're still individuals and their advertisement and their legacy, they'll do it for him. And they all seem to have a pretty good relationship with him as well.
Yeah, he's a player's coach, and guess who he played with in his heyday?
Who?
AI and the Mamba, Black Mamba. So, you know what? If anybody knows their basketball, it's Ty Lue. And kudos, Ty Lue was great. He made the adjustments that he had to, because Luka was games 1 and 2. It looked like it was going to be a sweep.
Mamba's a better player than LeBron James.
100%.
Okay, good. I was about to end this podcast on
it's like, and over.
and over. Okay, dude, that was a massive round 1 review. I mean, we had so much to talk about. We've still got even more because we're going to move right into round 2. So let's get this started. Round 2, some good games going on. We're going to actually start this off in the West. Reason being, one of these series is already over.
Get the brooms out again. Holy shit.
The MVP and the Denver Nuggets have been swept by the dominating Phoenix Suns. What?
How shocked are you that Denver didn't get a single game?
I'm actually really shocked, dude. I mean, I said it in the last podcast. I said before, I thought when they lost Jamal Murray that I had kind of wavered faith in them. But the way they had played, the MVP, the way this team rallied around it, I mean, the guys they brought in, I did not think that they were going to get swept. And you could see the frustration because our MVP got a flagrant 2 against Cameron Payne. He obviously felt bad, apologized right away. And that was just, he's not a dirty player. I'm not going to judge him for it. That was a bonehead, heat of the moment play where you're like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Move on.
Do you think he should have been ejected?
Man, I don't know. That was a rough hit, but we're talking playoff basketball. Like this, it's tough for me. Honestly, I want to say no. I never want to see a guy get kicked for that bullshit. I'll just put that out there.
I don't think there was any malicious intent.
Yeah.
I think, and I was listening to
stupid, but
it was a brain fart on his part.
You can tell what he's doing. You can tell what his thought process is.
Yeah, it wasn't his brightest moment for a guy who's got one of the highest basketball IQs in the game. But I think because he won the MVP, he should have maybe gotten a little slack. Because he actually went over to Payne after he was leaving, and he said he was sorry and he apologized. And class act, like Jokic is not a dirty player like you just said. But it was sad because as soon as he was gone, you knew it was
done. Yeah, the wins. I mean, pretty much your captain is gone, makes a boneheaded play. Like, it's just turned on you at that point. Momentum's going to go their way, obviously, with the shots, penalties, what have you. So, I mean, fouls, penalties, I'm fucking talking about.
Still not over hockey.
I don't even want to get into it. So, and then, good news, though, unfortunately for Denver, but for Phoenix, we said we were going to bring up his name again, but CP3. I mean, this guy came in clutch this series, man, watching these games. The way he is directing traffic of this young team blows my mind because now you have me focusing on Phoenix. I wasn't before. I liked them. I was with you. I'm like, yeah, man, Devin Booker's sick. Like CP3 I kind of like, but, he never really played for any of my teams. He's out in Houston, whatever, out west, OKC. Now you have me watching and dissecting this shit, and my God, man.
Dude, he toyed with them. They had no answer, especially games 3 and 4. They had no answer for him, and he actually elevated his game from the first series, from round 1 to round 2. It wasn't even close. Booker went to a new level too. Aiden actually gave the Joker some problems as well. Like, the Joker put up his numbers, but Aiden gave him problems. They threw everybody at him, and as we were praising the Denver bench, Where were they in this series?
Yeah, great point. Great point. And what you said before too. I can't believe how Phoenix shut them down. Like I did not have them sweeping, man. I
thought
can't remember.
this was going 7.
Yeah, I can't remember if I think I changed my vote to have Phoenix winning, or I might have kept Denver. I think I had Phoenix, but yeah, I did not have them getting swept. I did not think that they would be shut down like that. I mean, I already said it. The visible frustration from Denver, it was crazy.
I had Phoenix in 7. I thought this was going to go back and forth, but Chris Paul took it to another level. He was getting shots easily, at ease. Mikal Bridges, Cameron Payne, Cam Johnson, they all have stepped their game up. And then the big three, of course, and Denver had no answer. Denver's coach called them out because he knew, like, we're getting outplayed and we are not even showing up. So, and he gave them he gave Phoenix their praise because, as you know, Phoenix they just outclassed Denver.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm not going to doubt Phoenix now. I'm going to say this and they're going to win it, but we're going to talk about the next series, and whoever wins that series, I think, is going to beat Phoenix still. But I mean, this team, for such a young team, if you're a Phoenix fan, like, the next 10 years of basketball for you are unreal.
Well, depending on what CP3 does this offseason.
Well, he's not for 10 years. You're right.
Yeah. Bring Barkley out of retirement.
Yeah. He'll be brought up again too. Okay. The second round series of the West, you've got the Utah Jazz #1 versus the Kawhi Clippers. And this series right now, they're playing tonight, but Utah is up 2-1 in the series.
This series is your prototypical, like, juggernaut series. You have both these teams are so similar. They shoot the three, they defend, they have your superstars, you have your supporting cast. This is like, when I saw this series, I'm like, this is probably the one I'm going to pay attention to even more. Like, I know Denver and Phoenix was a hot series as well, but I'm like, I want to see Utah and I want to see the Clippers. I want to see if Utah is ready for that next step, and I want to see if Kawhi can continue his dominance from round 1.
Yeah, I think this is the best basketball we're going to get in this series. Like, the two best teams that are going at it evenly matched. Like, this is good basketball. I'm watching every game of this series, man.
Oh, yeah.
When we're done this, I'm watching the end of it. And we already brought up his name, but Paul George, playoff P, he's playing well again, man. And Kawhi, like, game 3 where they took the series lead, Kawhi 34 points, PG 31 points. I mean, both over 30. This guy came to play. Like, if the Clippers actually decide to say, fuck this reputation that some of our players in our organization have and win for Ballmer, I'm going to be so pissed off.
Well, why do you want to be the stepchild of LA?
Yeah.
This is your chance to elevate yourself, go out and win a championship and be relevant, because still nobody gives a damn about the Clippers until you prove otherwise. This is the time to do it, and this is a great test with a solid Utah team. And Mike Conley's not here. I'm wondering when he actually shows up, because he could be a difference maker in this series.
Yeah, and not only that, but Donovan Mitchell, I mean, he's managing pain in his ankle right now. He's playing through it because he's a G, but who knows how long that's going to last with the intensity that this series is going to bring, because I have this series actually, and we'll bring it up in a bit, but I have it going to at least 6 games, and I have Utah winning it. But I mean, this is going to be the best series we're watching, I think, this round.
I couldn't agree more. But it's funny, you have Utah in 6. I have the Clippers in 7.
I almost said Utah 7, but I said 6.
I got Utah in 7. I just think,
or Clippers in 7. You have
the Clippers. Sorry, yeah, not Utah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Utah fans. Yeah, I got the Clippers in 7. I just think they were tested in the first round, and I think now that you could tell they took the Mavs lightly. You know, they purposely finished 4th, you know, to get in that bracket where they didn't have to meet the Lakers until the Western Conference Finals. So I think they're alert now. I think they're ready for anything, and you know, experience does a lot. And who has more experience in this playoff series more than Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean,
and Tyler.
Yeah, from the from the start, I had Utah winning in 6 games, but like I said, that game 3 where him and PG both put up over 30 points, and you brought it up before. They don't want to be LA's second team. This isn't the 70s, the 80s anymore. It's such an international game that you start winning championships. I promise you're going to sell jerseys. You're going to be bigger, larger than life. Like it'll happen. You don't just have this American market, although that is the biggest dominant one. I mean, you want Chinese money, go for it.
I mean, Chinese money comes in handy somewhere.
Exactly. Okay, so that's our Western round 2. Dude, I can't wait to watch this game once we're done this. Like, I'm turning.
Me too.
Okay, so we're gonna move to the East, and we have right now Philadelphia versus Atlanta, and Philly is leading the series 2-1 as of when I wrote that.
So I don't know if you watched Game 1. Game 1 was masterful by Trae Young. But if you noticed at the end of the game, what did Philly do? They pressed. They pressed hard. They basically said, I'm not letting you cross half court with the ball, Trae Young. Make someone else do something. And ever since that play, they've been suffocating Atlanta. So with that said, Embiid is the best player in the series.
Oh, my God.
Nobody on that Atlanta team can stop him. Not Capella. You can say all you want, Capella. You're not stopping Embiid.
Nobody can.
No, they have the experience. They have the coach. I mean, McMillan's been through the grind too, but they got Ashy Doc Rivers. They got cheesesteaks. I'm going Philadelphia in 5.
Yeah, wow, 5. Okay, I actually had Philadelphia in 6. And I wanted to do Philly in 7 to give respect because I'm on this bandwagon Atlanta team. And this series, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Atlanta comes back, but I do not see it. Joel Embiid did not play round 1. This guy came back right now. Okay, team high, 27 points for the game 3 win. 39 points game 1, 40 points game 2. He got to the line 16 times from fouls in game 3. I mean, Phoenix just can't get a hold of this guy. He's running through them, and all they can do is foul him, and then he's making the shots. Like, it's crazy.
It's crazy when you're head above shoulders everyone else. And Embiid, you know what? If Embiid actually took care of himself a little better and didn't have all those chronic stomach pains and didn't get hurt all the time, he probably would have won the MVP this year because
he was second in voting.
Yeah, the start of that season, he was on a different level, but he can never stay healthy. There's always something with him, but when he's in the game, you notice it. He makes the biggest difference on the court. Unfortunately, Atlanta, this has been a nothing but successful season for the Hawks.
Yeah,
very proud, and this is only the beginning. Yeah, this is only the beginning. They have great pieces, but you're dealing with the monster and one with chronic stomach pains. So for that, yeah, it's Philly's series.
Yeah, I mean, and I already said his name, like Tobias Harris. I mean, just the Phillies bench, like this is so important and why our Raptors won the championship. I mean, you see which team can take it the farthest, and there's so many injuries and COVID and everything going on. Like, I just do not see Philly losing this series at all. And Atlanta, you're going to be my little Eastern bandwagon, like I said, going forward, because I can't stand the other Eastern teams. So, but yeah, Philly. Fuck, Philly's going to win it.
Yeah, and you're right. Bench scoring is important because your rosters get condensed. You go to a condensed bench when you're in the playoffs. So the guys that Philly have, I think they just outmatch who Atlanta has at this point. So maybe next year, Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, these Philly players, like, they're averaging probably over like 30 minutes, whatever. Just, oh boy. Okay, so now on to the next Eastern round, who apparently Philly's going to be playing, as we both think. You have the Brooklyn injured Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And going into Game 5, we have Kyrie Irving out with an ankle. Harden, who has only played, 30 minutes of Game 1 and hasn't been seen since, they're both out. So Kevin Durant, step up, put this team on your back, because that's the only way you're going to win. And I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, because of these injuries, I have Milwaukee winning.
You have them winning the series?
Yes.
In what?
7.
Ooh. So you think Milwaukee can win in Brooklyn? But you know what? I
I
dig
know
the courage.
it's the yeah, exactly. It's my little hot take for the playoffs, but I mean, if Milwaukee can keep up the defensive prowess, and not only that, these injuries hit, and I think combined with Brooklyn being up in the series and blowing it now that it's tied is huge. Because if you had that 3-1 window or 2-1 window when these guys were injured, you've got the confidence. But now, not only are these guys out, but the rest of the team blew it because the series is tied.
Yeah, Brooklyn, unfortunately, injuries is holding this team back because the games 1 and 2, yeah, it was going to be a wrap. It was going to be probably a sweep or a gentleman's sweep at least in 5. Yeah, no big 3, so it's going to be a tough, tall tale or climb for Kevin Durant and company. I just think Kevin Durant hasn't had one of those like 40-point games yet, and he's going to have one probably in Game 5 because they need to win.
Yeah.
They need to win that game. So I'm still going to pick Brooklyn in 6. I had Brooklyn in 6 no matter what. I think by them winning Game 5, Kyrie or James is going to play Game 6, and it's going to be the icing on the cake. It's going to be the nail in the coffin for Milwaukee. I like Milwaukee's team, and they've shown some toughness and some tenacity that they didn't have in Games 1 and 2. PJ Tucker, Forbes, Middleton. Do you see that block Middleton had?
Oh, yeah.
Drew Holiday. And Giannis is actually playing his game. See, when he takes outside shots, it deters the team. So Giannis needs to play his game. He needs to dish. He needs to play inside out. He just needs to be Giannis and nothing else. Don't try to be anyone else. Be Giannis. And you know what? You can definitely take this to 7 because they looked yesterday? That was a beatdown. Yeah. It was a Brooklyn beatdown.
So Giannis, absolute superstar freak. Like, you're right. The reason I've changed my mind about Milwaukee, shout out, you said his name, PJ Tucker, former Raptors. I totally agree with you that Durant's going to ball out at least one game, no doubt, and I think that's why it's going to 7. But PJ Tucker's defense and guarding of Durant has been amazing this season, and they do not have the other options now. If PJ Tucker and the rest of this team, the bench, plays the defense, I'm telling you, man, that's why I changed my mind. I think Milwaukee could do it. Shout out PJ. I'm loving his play. It's hyped me up.
I think
PJ, I'm not a Milwaukee fan, really.
Yeah. Well, the only thing good about Milwaukee is their cheese, but
I like that they're small market and only a baseball team, really. Like, that's cool, but yeah.
Well, the baseball, it's funny you say baseball. They have the best mascot because he slides. He goes down a huge slide into like beer, so it's like the best fucking mascot in sports. But other than that, I don't give a fuck about that area. But going back to the series, PJ Tucker, yeah, he's been great, and he's always been that bulldog defender. I just think great players find ways to win, and I think Durant will find a way to elevate his team to victory in Brooklyn because they need it. I'm telling you right now, if they lose Game 5, it's over. Milwaukee wins it in 6.
Yeah.
It's a must win for Brooklyn, and by them winning, one of the two, Kyrie or James, I don't know who yet will probably
come back.
Will make an appearance for Game 6 because they don't want it to go 7.
Yeah, if that happens, that'll eat my words. But I don't know, man. I think they're out. Durant, he is going to ball out one game. There's no doubt. Pulling the Tatum, as Bah called it. But yeah, we'll see. So that was our round 2 roundup. I mean, we're definitely going to be back for round 3 in the finals. We'll let you guys know exactly what's going to go on there. But we're moving on now to some bullshit happening in the playoffs, actually. And this is all of the we call NBA fan bullshit going on right now. I don't know if people have just been so stuck inside and you just need to let it out, or if it's this new everybody is seeking fucking attention on social media and you're willing to sell your soul just for a bit of fame. But people, act like you've fucking been there before. There is nothing wrong with chirping, telling a guy to fuck off. If it's not a personal insult, don't insult the guy's mom, but say, hey, you're a fucking idiot. You played like shit or something. Fine. The athlete should have tough skin, whatever. But some of this stuff, we already talked about it. Spitting on Trae Young, fuck you. The popcorn thrown on Russell, the water bottle thrown at Kyrie. I mean, you made all these notes here in our chat. Now, the fact that there's more than one, what are you doing?
And it all happened around the same time too. It was all in the first round. Like the popcorn was May 26th. The spit was the same night, and the water bottle was May 30th. So all of these atrocities happening in a short span because fans think they're entitled. It goes back to that the going to the zoo. The analogy of going to the zoo and you see an animal in a cage and you poke at the cage or you poke at the glass because you think you're entitled to, and the animal can't do anything because it's concealed. And I think it's a bunch of horseshit. I think, you know what? Tickets are expensive. I spend money on tickets. Tal and I go to the playoffs every time it's in Toronto, and we spend like a little fortune and we make a night of it. And at no point in time I ever feel I'm entitled to throw objects at players or insult their mothers or jump on the court and disrupt the game itself. I think it's a bunch of shit, and it sucks because we're having such a great playoffs, and fans are finally allowed back. I think fans in any sport make it that much more exciting, that much more thrilling. Fans are the heartbeat of sports.
Yeah.
But now you're being a fucking goofball because you think you're entitled. Like I think it's a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I mean, you're right with that word entitled. Like these guys, like you're just thinking these are street performer animals that are putting on a show for you. Everybody loves when there is a great chirp on a sign, or you hear that guy who just has that great witty remark. Like, try to swing for the fences doing that. The shit that's like the Neanderthal, like you don't know what to do and you can't think past throwing something or shouting. Like, we all know words that will offend anybody, and you can get somebody pretty pissed off and get into like a fighting mood. And shout out to that fucking Phoenix Sun fan who beat the shit out of that Denver guy. That was amazing that the guy threw a sucker punch. Please watch this video, everybody, if you haven't seen it. The Phoenix Sun guy just absolutely fills this guy in, says, we're going to sweep you, by the way, too, and I'm going to beat the shit out of your friend. I bring him up because all of these fans throwing stuff need a guy like that to beat the shit out of them. I hate the baseball fights and stuff where a guy gets sucker punched. There's nothing worse than sucker punches and being a coward. But I'm telling you, if you see a guy spit on a professional athlete or anybody, go knock him out. Because if you knock him out, I promise you he won't do it again. People need to be hit, man. Like, seriously.
Well, what does that say about you? If you're willing to go spit, throw objects at someone, what does that say about you? And I love Russ's comment. Like, would you dare do that to me on the street? Because I don't think you would. No. But because you're hiding behind the security and the stadium itself, you're gonna do it. It's like those people online who hide behind a mouse or hide behind a computer and insult you. But in real life, would they really do it? No, because they're straight up pussies.
Never. And I'm one of the guys, too. I think there's a lot of fake toughness in the NBA. I think height and muscles and tattoos and a giant beard cloud a lot of people's judgment on how tough you actually are. Just because you're swinging doesn't mean you know how to fucking fight. Man, with that being said, these people are like lower scum cowards. And you're right. They would never do this to anybody. Even someone who they think they could take, they don't have that kind of disrespect on the street because they're all anxious. And everybody nowadays is like, oh, people are watching me. Everybody watching what I'm doing, care about what I'm saying and all that stuff. With that kind of pressure, and you're like, oh, man, it's going to be hilarious in front of 20,000 people. I'm going to fucking spit on that guy.
Yeah, it's that's social media. Social media at its worst, just people trying to appease fans and other spectacles to get acceptance, but you're not getting any acceptance or praise on my end. You just look like a complete goof. And now what? Like, some of this stuff's criminal too. And you know what? I don't think it's going to stop until they make it more criminal.
Yeah. So you asked that question in our little group chat. What do you think needs to be done for the future? My answer: what they're doing. You can't like police a stadium in a way that some people think when they cry. You have to punish these people individually. And you know what? You don't need to, if a guy spits on Trae Young, I don't need that guy to go to jail for 3 years. Okay. but an indefinite ban for life from his favorite team stadium and potentially say he had to go to some type of anger management class with volunteer hours, I think that's a pretty decent punishment. There should be punishment. You don't need to go to these extreme punishments, or just get him knocked out. Just knock him out. I wish that was an option. You could go to the judge. He's like, yo, you get 9 months in jail, or those two guys beat the shit out of you. And it's like, no.
Oh, no one would ever do that again. If the perpetrator was getting the treatment back or getting double that, yeah, they wouldn't do that again. I like what you said about being banned. I would like to take it even further. You know how when you go to the mall or you shoplift, yeah, and you shoplift and you have that person's face on the bulletin board. I think that should be passed out through every stadium of that league, so that person not only can't enter their hometown, but they can't go to other stadiums anymore and participate. I think you need to make it stiff so people realize and understand that you don't have the right.
Dude, I'm actually going to agree with you and take your one step further, even one step further, because you want the social media, you want the attention. Okay, let's give you the attention. The 11 o'clock news should blast that guy's face all over the news. It's like if it happened at the Utah Jazz game, their social media should put the guy's photo up on their Instagram page and be like, Michael Smith, 33 of this, decided to spit on a guy because he's classless and wasn't raised properly. It's like, I don't care if he wants to go Columbine because he was a coward to begin with. You need to embarrass these fucking people. Yeah, that's the only way. It's going to give him the fame that he wants, the attention he wants, because it's not going to. He's going to find out that he was sorely mistaken. That's what he wanted.
Well, vilify them and let it be known that they're willing to do this to a complete stranger who's there to entertain them, and show their true character, show the true side to them. I think security needs to be beefed up as well. Definitely more cameras throughout. It sucks because these players aren't safe anymore, and they're just there to entertain.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what we're both getting at is that these people should be deported. So, yeah, I think that's the answer we're going for, the extreme. Okay. Okay, so moving on, we're going to do a little NBA news roundup. And we're each going to shoot off a news little quip to each other and give our comments. So I'll start it off, buddy. Kyrie. And what I say is universal karma has an ankle injury after stomping on Lucky, the Boston Celtics logo. What a childish, immature act for a grown man to do to a team and a fan base who did nothing but wanted you and loved you, and you spat in their face. You did the fan to Trae Young, symbolically.
Yeah, it was done deliberately. It's a big deal in my book.
Kyrie. No, I'm saying I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Kyrie thinks he's a disrespectful SOB. He thinks his jock strap doesn't stink.
Yeah, he is.
So maybe the ankle injury is karma.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy who's been surrounded by yes men, because he says the most outlandish bullshit things, and it's like a laughing joke. Like, if you say something and millions of people are laughing at you and saying you're wrong, you don't double down because your buddy's like, man, no, those 6 million are wrong. You're right, Kyrie. It's like, this guy needs to grow up. And you know what? I love sports. It's the biggest part of my life. Like, I love athletes, but man, again, you're just an athlete at the end of the day, like making millions of dollars, more than you deserve, like any athlete deserves, and good for them for making it. But it's like, give me a break.
Well, there's one thing having a cause and having a voice and being an advocate, but don't snarl everyone else. Don't belittle everyone else because they don't think the same or the ideology isn't the same. Respect. It's all about respect at the end of the day. You're trying to push respect. Have respect for those other people.
Yeah, everybody knows, man, it's just typical. Like, everybody knows that person that never takes accountability, and they're always like, I had this one buddy, he would say the most bullshit, stupid things, and then whenever you'd be pissed off, he'd be like, I'm kidding, I'm just joking. And it's like, you're not. You were gauging our reactions by what, and then it's like, oh, like, you're just like kind of like, it's just fuck off.
There's always a little truth to a joke.
Yeah, exactly. All right, buddy, what's number 2 on news?
So, big deal, little deal. LeBron James changing his number to 6 again.
Yeah.
And then a little deal. His game doesn't change with the number change. Father Time is knocking at his door, and he needs to accept it. LeBron is just basically stealing thunder from the NBA playoffs because he exited early. And because of it, his team was banned. Yeah, basically, LeBron. It's just thunder stealing that LeBron's trying to do, as always. It's me. The number change isn't going to be like in Miami. And honestly, I think if he went with number 23 in Miami, he still would have been dominant. So this is a little deal for me. Just LeBron trying to be in the news.
Yeah, 100% I agree with you. It's a little deal. He doesn't deserve having it as a big deal because he's just doing it, I think, for Space Jam 2 promotional. Like, I think number 6 is what he's wearing in the movie. That's why he did it, which is even bigger bullshit. Because knowing LeBron, man, he's going to change his number back in like a year, 2 years. He'll go back to 23. Like, he won't do well with number 6 or something. Then he'll go back to, like, it's all just, like we said, this guy makes the movie script in his head.
Yeah.
And it's playing out, and he's just like the director, and he's like, this is what the people think I would do this day, so this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, they bounced harder than Fat James Harden doing a cannonball in the pool, and, he's just got to be in the news still, be relevant.
Worst NBA player of all time, Fat James Harden.
Yes and no. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. Number 3 for Big Deal, Little Deal News Roundup. Charles Barkley hating on super teams, my good man. And I'm going to tell you right now, he's rooting against the Nets, which I absolutely love. And we've talked about that show. That is one of the best sports shows to watch. Like, I truly love Kenny, like Shaq, the way that they all laugh, even when they bring on Draymond or a guest star. Even like, I don't like Draymond at all. He was very funny and he was good on that show. Like, I enjoy watching him. And Charles Barkley, I was speaking with my brother the other day. It was not this, but it was something else he had said. I have so much respect for Charles Barkley as a man. Like, this guy is one of the better sports personalities out there. He's always truthful. And not only is he truthful, but it's poignant what he says. It's important. And he never says any bullshit like Kyrie. Like, everything he says is common sense, Melk. And if you have common sense, which both of us do and most people listening do, you like nod your head like you're doing. You're like, yeah, dude, I obviously agree with Barkley. Like, that should just be what everybody thinks. He seems like a good guy.
Oh, I would love to I'd love to pick his brain, have beers, get smashed, be on that road trip with him, Jordan, Tiger, when they went to when they do their Las Vegas, big boy trips. Barkley, what more can you say? He's great for the sport of basketball. I think he's better now than when he was playing. He was a great player. I'm not taking away from his playing days, but he's great now for the sport. Brings in every type of fan because of his analytics and his demeanor. Biggest hater on the block, though, and which I love it. It works for him. To me, this is a little deal just because, like, he is a hater, and it is sometimes for the ratings.
Yeah, it is a little deal. The only reason that I love him being a hater is because he's usually liking my side and hating the stuff I hate. I think that's why I like him.
And also, he jinxes the teams he cheers for. Like, he always picks Portland, and they fuck up.
Yeah, he is they let him know that, man, because he is a jinx. I'm glad you brought that up.
He's a huge jinx. So, like, now that he's jumped on the Phoenix bandwagon, I'm wondering if they're doomed as well, but only time will tell. Yeah. All right. All right, big deal, little deal. Hawks forward DeAndre Hunter done for the playoffs with a meniscus tear. So this is a huge deal for me.
Yeah.
I didn't, it's crazy. I didn't know who this guy was. And I looked up his numbers, both regular season and playoffs. Regular season, so-so, but playoff numbers, 10.8 points per game, 4 rebounds, shooting 3.75% a three-point percentage. He's a 6'8". He's guarding all the difficult players. So this is a huge deal for me. As like we were alluding to earlier, your roster bench gets smaller. And now with him, being on the disabled list, it's just shrinking even more. So I think it's a huge deal. And another part why Philadelphia is going to lay the smackdown on Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Huge deal here. You're right. I didn't know about this guy until like January, February when we were really starting to talk about Phoenix. I had started to watch their highlights. And I was watching their games more and talking to and listening to recaps and all that. This guy's their best perimeter defenseman, Milk.
Yeah.
Like that is such a massive blow in the playoffs. Like that's huge. And I didn't even write down the numbers you brought up. Like that's actually what he's contributing. I just had in capital letters best perimeter defense out. I mean, against Philadelphia, what are you going to do?
Yeah, he does everything. Guards multiple positions, and yeah, you're losing probably the anchor to your defense.
Dude, this is probably the biggest deal that we had for today.
I agree. I have to agree with that.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And you know what? Sorry for you guys, Atlanta. I mean, like we said, the years ahead are going to be sweet, but right now it doesn't look like it's in the cards for you.
Not this year.
Okay. And finally, the last part of Big Deal, Little Deal is a little look ahead to the future because they have announced the starting date, Melky, for the season, and it's October 19th. And I'm going to tell you right now, for me, while it's not a huge deal, it is a big deal for me because we have October sports back, the start of the season, when fall begins. It's before my birthday, before Christmas. It's just time to go, man. It's that preseason's going to be before that. Summer's coming down. You know that basketball, hockey, soccer starting up. I'm in heaven. It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. I couldn't agree with you more. It's a huge deal because, like you said, fall sports. And I don't know about you, but I knew when basketball was around the corner, when it was close to Halloween, you knew like hockey and basketball were starting. Yes, fall sports. This is a huge deal. We finally have a full season as well. Yeah. And this is a huge deal because it's more money for the league.
All we can wish for now is that the Toronto Raptors are playing home games. That is my only wish. But yeah, dude, such a massive deal. I mean, to go from like what's great now is that we have like the Euro, so we've got summer tournaments, which is always a bonus. You've got the World Series, MLB playoffs, and then it's so important for you and I, man. NFL, NBA, NHL, all pretty much come back relatively the same time. Fall is the best sports time besides playoffs. Obviously, playoffs is the absolute best, but that start of the season, man, when you think the Leafs are going to win it all, and I'm ready to be heard again by Toronto, Melky.
I think the only thing worse than that is if Montreal beats Vegas.
Okay, by the way, I know it's a basketball pod. If any Canadians are listening or non-Canadians, absolute coward move by the CN Tower, Niagara Falls to all go and red for Canada's team. Justin Trudeau needs to stop shoving this shit down our throat. Nobody likes Montreal fans outside of Quebec and those random East Coast or Ontario Montreal fans. Okay?
Another reason why he shouldn't be in office, but that's it for a different podcast.
Okay, so that was our NBA news roundup, but more importantly, Big Deal, Little Deal. That's a new segment Melky brought, and we're going to be doing that now every episode going forward. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
Yeah. I love when we come up with new segments, buddy. We always have our chats just going. Okay, so now for what I've been excited to talk to you about, it's jersey talk. Jerseys are so important to you and I, man. Obviously, old school fans do not care about style, but steez is very important. You got to look good if you're going to ball out, man. I don't care.
You got to look the part. In any sport, you just got to look the part.
I would never leave a team for having shitty jerseys, but if I was a professional athlete, I think my ego would be so big. I would be going into the room being like, I'm going to be a part of the decision making. Oh, okay, we're Toronto Raptors and you're going with a yellow jersey. That's not happening. That's nope.
Or a triangle.
Yeah. Dude, they literally went onto MS Paint and just chose shapes. It's terrible. It's terrible. And I wanted the black jersey. I still haven't bought it yet because we were talking about it. But it's the
Jumpman?
Yeah.
Oh, I think out of all the triangle jerseys they have, you should get the Jumpman. The Jumpman's sweet, man. Yeah.
I know. I'm probably gonna get because I haven't had a black Raps jersey yet either, so that's got to fill it out. But moving on to playoff jersey talk, we're gonna choose the best uniforms that we've thought of in the playoffs so far, the worst uniform in the playoffs so far, and we're also going to talk about a vintage jersey from a team still in the playoffs that we want to see brought back. So, Melky, let's start off with the worst.
The worst jersey in the playoffs?
Yeah, I want to hear your decision.
Hands down, that atrocity of a fucking uniform from the Denver Nuggets last night. That red, nasty ass jersey that looked like a kid dug out his freezies and took the orange freezy and the red freezy, took all of them that were in the box, decided to go to a carnival, rode the Cyclone, rode it twice, then came back down, saw a uniform, and Ralphed all over it. That's exactly what it looks like. It's Denver, hands down, the worst.
So I actually like that jersey, but it's definitely not Denver. And yeah, I kind of see your points, which is funny, but I actually like it.
It's nasty looking, and like it's degrading, and it's defiling the mountains, man. The mountains are there with all this sea of red and orange, and it doesn't make a lick of sense. Terrible jersey. What were you thinking, Denver?
Yeah. Okay.
The altitude's getting to your head.
Yeah. So I did a top 3 for each because we just did a jersey quick breakdown and I didn't know. So I'll give my 3 in really no specific order, but the one I hate the most is those BKLYN Brooklyn jerseys.
Oh, I like those jerseys, man.
I can't stand them.
You just hate Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's true. The other ones I'll just say that one was third. Number 2 is the orange Phoenix. I think it's so bland. I think Phoenix can be so much better. I love the purple. And I'll pretext this by saying the white Phoenix jersey is so fucking clean. I love that jersey.
It's pretty
but I do not like just their bland, just orange jersey. It's not
with the ball that's on fire, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That jersey's crap.
Yeah, dude, I can't stand that one. And then finally, and I usually like this color in these jerseys, I can't stand the Mile High City fucking jersey from Denver.
Oh yeah, that was on my list too. Of like,
I don't like that jersey at all, man. I would rather take that other Denver jersey you're talking about than that piece of shit.
No way. Yeah, those are pretty awful jerseys too.
I hate them so fucking much.
Yeah, a special shout out to the Clippers that just says Los Angeles and is black and white. I think those are stupid looking.
I like those.
I hate those jerseys. They're trying to be like, I think they're doing it for the Vatos, because it's all like gang letters.
It's 90s West Coast like Raiders style for sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely putrid. And another shout out to Utah, similar as Denver with all these multicolored bullshit uniforms. It looked like a clown died on a shirt. It's orange, it's red, it's other fucking colors, and it's just an eyesore to look at. So yeah, no, stop it, please.
Okay, well, were there any jerseys you liked, Melk? Let's move on to the best.
Well, the best, I mean, and everyone thinks I'm hopping on the Phoenix bandwagon, and I am, but I'm going to go with the Valley. The Valley uniform with black, and it says the Valley, and it's got the background.
I love that jersey.
Yeah, I think those are done very well. I might have to purchase one.
I wanted Devin Booker when I was thinking that the other night, man. So they wore that last game. They're so nasty.
I think it's a thing of beauty. And shout out to Memphis having a little Vancouver colors, where the big Memphis with the black and it's got the teal and the red at the side. I think that's very crisp. And you know what? Since nobody really gives Washington any love, I'm going to go with Washington. They have one. This is District of Columbia on it. And that was pretty tight as well.
Yeah. Was that the white one?
It wasn't white. It's red. It's red and it's blue. And then it has District of Columbia in a circle. And I thought that was pretty nice.
I'm thinking of the all clean white one with the bit of text. That was a little.
That was nice too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I love the Phoenix choice. They were almost my choice too. So I'm going to do 3 again. Number 3, the Milwaukee Bucks green. I just like this classic jersey. My brother shits on me all the time, but I just like green in sports. I wonder why. It's not like I
hate the Celtics.
I fucking hate the Celtics.
That's the definition of green.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why I'm choosing the Bucks. Okay. But more importantly, number 2, the black Phoenix jersey. I had that as well. That jersey is nasty. Like, I want that Devin Booker jersey, just like not the neon skyline, but just the way they have it with the bit of purple. Oh man, I would rock that jersey everywhere. And my number 1 favorite jersey, I legit want this jersey. It's the black Utah Jazz, the black, orange,
Yeah.
red. I know it's similar to the one you hate, but dude, that jersey, and I didn't want Utah to like at first change their court, how it has like the sunrise, sunset like motif, and that jersey's so clean. I love it so much.
I'm cool with that jersey. Like the black actually makes a big difference.
I want a Donovan Mitchell black one so bad.
Well, who else would you really get, right?
Bear with COVID on the back.
Yeah, with COVID, yeah, it'd have to be special,
Yeah.
especially COVID free. Like, wait, is there COVID on? Okay, now I'll accept it. Thanks, Gobert. No, yeah, like with the black, it cleans it up. But when it's just all the bright colors, it's an eyesore. It hurts my eyes. I'm trying to watch basketball, not your flashing jersey. No, but yeah, good solid pick. That almost made my list.
Yeah, man, just I don't know what it is, but black is such a good color for jersey themes if you can pull it off. Like I always love dark colors, dark blue, like black, like just so clean. If you're gonna do a bright color, you better do it right.
You better have the right color scheme to go along with it.
You know which one I almost had on my worst as well? Those yellow Utahs.
Oh, just the actual yellow
And it
one?
just says
Yeah.
the
It has the symbol.
Yeah.
That looks like a practice jersey.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay. So really what this is saying is you and I need to go on a little jersey spree. I think that's what.
I think so, man. As soon as more stores open up, man.
Okay, so I've been privy, spoiler alert, to what your pick is for best vintage jersey. So Melky, I want you to go first. Tell our listeners, what jersey from a playoff team active right now do you want to bring back?
Well, we mentioned him earlier, and I've mentioned the team throughout the pod. We're going to go Charles Barkley's Phoenix Suns from the early 1990s.
That would be such a clean look.
That purple, the way the ball is just emphasized, with is it a star or is it a flame that's behind the ball? Sorry, fans, I don't know it exactly well, but like him, Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, back in the day when they lost to the Bulls. I love that uniform. I'm actually looking currently right now to purchase it. Barkley, of course. I think they should bring that back for a game.
Man, they're whites now. That jersey and the black skyline one maybe would be the best jersey setup in the game.
Phoenix is doing it right, man.
It's disgusting. Okay, so just like the other two parts, I don't listen to the rules or pay attention to what Melky says because I did a 3 as well for this. So number 3 is an asterisk beside it because it's the Vancouver Grizzlies, and you already brought it up. They kind of incorporated a bit of it into it.
Yeah.
It's never going to be an actual Vancouver Grizzly jersey, but I loved that jersey as a kid. It was so sick. The logo's unreal. Just the bear looks mean as shit. So if that was their third, I want them to rock it. The 2 other picks, this one, blue and red Atlanta Hawks from the 60s. People, go look up this jersey because it is clean. It is clean. And I know you're not thinking baby blue for Atlanta because it's been a long, long time, but it works really well. It's better than those blue and red Clipper jerseys. Like it's really nice.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I was looking up jerseys last night as we were writing for this pod, and I saw that too, and I'm like, that looks pretty clean. And Atlanta should actually revisit because they've got a few new uniforms too. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of it, so they should definitely revisit and go back in time because those are mint.
Yeah, pure mint. And the number 1 jersey, the main jersey I want to be brought back. Most classic jerseys were hated at the time and now are cult classic favorites. I've already said their names: Karl Malone, John Stockton. I want the classic Utah Jazz mountain purple jerseys. Let's go.
Those jerseys look like ass.
I knew that you'd say that. This pick is for you. I don't care. I actually love those jerseys. It just works so well. I don't know why I liked Utah kind of as a kid. Like, it was just a random team that I just liked the jerseys and I liked the players, and like I just knew Karl Malone's name and stuff like that. So it was easy for my simple small mind to click. So, but those jerseys, let's bring them back, man. That black Utah jersey. The white's okay right now. Maybe clean it up a bit with that as the retro. Let's go.
See, I never liked Utah because I thought at one point John Stockton and Jeff Hornacek were the same person, but I was sadly
wrong. You might be right.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Utah anything. Sorry, Mormons.
Wow. Okay, well, so you know what? Actually, closer than I thought for jerseys, buddy.
I think you and I are on the same level with taste in regards to jerseys, but yeah, like you like colors. You like a lot of brightness, colors, and which is great. Like you need an eye-catching jersey. I'm more of like the slick black with something that just uh, overshadows it a little bit. So, but we're close there, man. We're you and I could come up with a jersey. It'd probably be pretty mint too.
I don't know why when it comes to the NBA, I kind of like the bright colors and stuff, man, because you know me, when it comes to like hockey or like football, like I'm a Bayern Munich fan and all that stuff. For me, man, simplicity is key. I like one color, maybe a secondary color like blue, white, or whatever, and just simple designs, a couple of like, I don't need all the crazy shit. But, man, I want that Utah jersey. I can't stop thinking about it. I want that. Okay, moving on because I won't stop talking about it. We're going to end the show the way we always end it, with a Kobe moment. And with keeping up with the theme of the last few episodes, it's our favorite playoff Kobe moment. Melky, I'm going to go first this time.
Yeah, of course.
And in keeping with your Phoenix Suns favorite team that you have, and because I've already used the Kobe playoff moment against Phoenix, I'm going to use a second playoff moment against Phoenix. This one is Game 2, May 10th, 2000. With only 15 points, and he only took 11 shots, Kobe proved that he wasn't the selfish player that he was garnering a reputation of being. He was dishing it out. He was playing defense. Shaquille O'Neal led the team in points that game. I mean, he was kind of behind the scenes. But guess what? This is why Kobe's a superstar, because when it came down to it, this guy hit the game-winning shot against all-star defensive player Jason Kidd. I mean, Kobe had a slow game by his standards, was just passing around defense, and yet when the time came and you needed one guy to make the shot, we know who made it.
That's a Laker who, when the chips are down and the buzzer, it's down to the last 10 seconds or even less than that, you want the ball in his hand. Not LeBron's hand, but Kobe's hand, because it's going down, or he's going to go down with a fight.
It's crazy sometimes seeing in the plays too when I'm watching this, how fast and small he looks to some of the other players, and he's just going around the baggy jersey. He gets off kiltered, and he's just taking the shot, and you're like, that's going in, obviously.
I've never seen like a player that doesn't get demoralized from taking bad shots.
Yeah,
and that's part of the legend of Kobe. He's just always hustling and just always, you're gonna get that full effort from Kobe and that never die mentality. So
yeah, Melky, add to his legacy, buddy. What's your moment?
We're gonna go 2009. Kobe Bryant leads the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals against the Denver Nuggets. In Game 6, Kobe put up 35 points, 10 assists against the Nuggets in the series-clinching Game 6 win in 2009, and then propelled them to the NBA championship.
Yeah. I saw that moment too when I was going through the list and I was trying to watch highlights, and that came up, man. That was when he balled out. In 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not talking 2001 Kobe here.
This is 2009.
Yeah.
Vintage Kobe.
Unbelievable, man. It's almost sad that the season's coming to a close and we're going to be ending this Kobe thing, but I think it feels right. I think we've pretty much got one or two Kobe moments left each, but I mean, the legacy of Black Mamba is going to live on forever. The true Laker and the best Laker all time.
100% can't argue there.
Melky, buddy, almost 2 hours. This has been a blast.
We had a lot to share with the viewers and the listeners for, it's round 2. It's round 1 cleanup, and then round 2. This NBA playoffs has been fantastic. It's been everything and anything I've hoped for.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait for the next episode we're going to do. Our chat talk has just been ramping up. Everybody, all of our buddies are starting to watch the games now. You can tell that it's getting close to that championship round because all the bandwagoners are jumping on. The hype machine's going, buddy.
Well, it's great because the representatives of last year's finals aren't even here anymore.
I love that.
It's fantastic. And no bubble champions this year.
Yeah, real season.
I want to give a shout out though to NA30, the NA30 family, for making this possible, including you, Bah. And shout out to the NBA gods for kicking LeBron to the curb because it was needed.
Yeah, absolutely. People, if you want it, well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and speaking of NA30, go to smoothmyballs.com. It's our sponsor. Get 15% off by putting NA30 in the code for additional 15%. And of course, if you want to be a winner, trim your bonsai tree thinner.
Oh, perfect. I was waiting to hear what your new one was. That was good. Okay, people, if you're not sick of Melk and I just yet, I mean, you can catch the both of us on a Mustard that just dropped or is dropping. It was a blast. We had Johnny come back with our movie reviews. You're going to see us down the line for another basketball episode. I've got Blue Jays coming up. We're probably going to do a hockey talk, although I really don't want to. And then we've been talking to everybody's fan favorite Gooby, and we're going to have a little soccer surprise, I think, coming up for our listeners, which I am very excited to finally be talking about some socks.
Yeah, I can't wait. The Euro tournament just has gone underway, and already it's gone down with a bang. We've had some great games. We've had almost catastrophe earlier. Thank God it turned out the way it did. But yeah, I can't wait to dive in and probably dive like soccer players do best with you and Gooby.
Yeah, and heads up, spoiler alert for anybody, Gooby chose Spain. Apparently this is his team. He's not Spanish. So if anybody wants to write comments towards that, please feel free. I'll read them on the air.
Please do. We encourage it.
Okay, buddy, time to wrap it up. I want to go watch this Utah game. I think you do too. We're going to be talking probably for the next 2 hours anyways.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the outcome of that game. Again, best series, I think, in the playoffs right now.
Perfect. Okay, everybody. I'm Bah. That's my brother Melky. This is Nothing But Miss, episode 7. Check us out, episode 8. Peace.
See you.
See you.